And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. Of course, this show number 2 today, and we're doing the old Texas two-step. Thanks to Drew Cooper, Texas country and Nashville recording artist, for joining us at the top of the show. Fantastic artist, a lot of cool stuff. You missed that when it's at the sportsguyspodcast.com, and of course at our good friends over at the YouTube channel. Of course, always love that to put the shows on there. We're live on those two specific sites right now, the YouTube channel, the Backstage Pass, and at the Sports Guys podcast.com, presented by our good friends over at Bangtail Whiskey, MitchMacs.com, and Hank Jr. Productions. And pleased to welcome in a lady I've got the utmost respect for, Canadian born, bred, and she's a hell of a singer out there. If you guys haven't checked her out, you might want to go do that and check out the latest single, Far From Home, as Krissy Feniak joins us here on the show. And Krissy, how are things?
Things are good. It's CMA Fest here in Nashville, so the vibes are high. The energy's there. Nashville is crazy busy, and I am loving it.
Well, glad to have you with us. And let's talk about that right there, because I've never been to one. It's the first time it's back in 2 years. Of course, it's going to be bigger and better than ever. But you were playing at the airport last night, and gobs of people just flying in for the event, right?
Tons and tons and tons of people. It was so awesome. And then I played at the Row today, lunchtime, and it was just crazy busy. But everyone's just so excited for the weekend. It's going to be so much fun. I have tickets. This is my first time. I was like, you know what? I need to put on the tourist hat and I need to get me some tickets.
Well, let's talk about your story. Of course, being a great musician, I've got a ton of respect for what you do out there, and no doubt. But I love to kind of always know when the bug kind of bit, and you're like, some people say, well, I started out doing this as a hobby, but may not have had family that grew up, kind of around music, or maybe I did. But when did that bug kind of bite, and when did you want to turn this from a hobby into a full-time career?
Man, there's not a time that I can remember where I thought of music as a hobby and not as a career. When I was about 8 years old, I went to a Taylor Swift. Well, it was a Kenny Chesney concert, and Taylor Swift was opening for him. And she was just getting started, and I just thought she was everything. I was obsessed with Taylor Swift, and so I brought her flowers, and the security guard lifted me up to the stage, and she took her bracelet off, and she gave me her bracelet, and she said a nice little thing, about, oh, thank you so much for the flowers, and I was just like starstruck. Like, I held on to that bracelet. I still have it. I held on to that bracelet, and I was like, I have to be her. I have to do everything in my power to just be her. And, my mom was just such a blessing, and, she just took the reins and she said, okay, if you want to make this a career, you got to start, way down here. You got to start taking singing lessons. And I trained classically and for about 10 years. And I did that for a long time. And, it was a really good way to learn all the theory and all the way things work. And then, I started gigging when I was 12. And I played 132 gigs in the first year. And it was awesome. It was great. I played everywhere they'd listen. I played seniors' homes. I played hockey games. I played everywhere. And I loved it.
All right, I want to talk about this because I love the Canadian aspect of things. We get so many Canadian artists coming on the program now. It just feels like there's this pipeline of so many great artists coming out of Canada. Edmonton, Alberta. I love that area. We used to visit it about 5 years ago. Yeah, in 17. Spent a couple of weeks up there. One of the best spots in my entire life I got to vacation at. Amazingly beautiful. And in July, one of the perfect time to go because of the summer weather. And I'm a golf fan, and so is a buddy of mine. We get to play out there. They lived about 4 hours. I think it was west of Edmonton, a little town called Grand Prairie. What was it like growing up there, and just the musical influences that kind of brought you further into country music?
Oh, the Alberta and Canadian country music scene is so, so, so wonderful and so welcoming. And I went to my first Canadian Country Music Awards. I was 12. And everyone was just so kind and like, oh, you just, you got to do the thing. You got to do everything, do as much as you can, learn as much as you can. And, just they were so kind and so warm. And it just made me want to be a part of it even more. And it was really awesome. And, I definitely I grew up in a small town in Alberta. So I definitely miss, the small town, the mountains, the space, the stuff we do out at the farm. But I mean, the city's great too, but I definitely miss being home.
It's a great place up there. I didn't want to leave when I spent that 2 weeks in 2017. Of course, I live in Texas, so it was hot about July. It's the triple digits down here and up there. You're like, I didn't get above 60, and I'm like staying at my buddy's house. I'm like, we're on the back porch in shorts and a just short sleeve t-shirt and flip flops, and we're going to play golf. And then we got to play golf because the weather changes so fast up there as it does down here. one morning was 45. We're playing golf, and like he's like, "Why'd you wear shorts?" And I was like, "Dude, I thought it was going to be." And I'm freezing my one off, and
Yeah.
so it's you never know about the weather change. So
It
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 can get a
changes
little bit.
fast. You gotta be ready.
All right. Speaking of CMA Fest, because I can't be there, and I'm jealous, and definitely want to get there one of these years. What are you most excited to look forward to attend over these next 3 days?
Ooh, I was so excited to see Alan Jackson. I don't know if you saw, he's sick, so he won't be playing this year. So my heart is broken.
Hmm.
But there's so many great artists. I'm really excited about Lainey Wilson, Keith
Hmm.
Urban, Jason Aldean, Luke Combs. I wanted to go see Hardy today, but I had a show, so I missed
Okay.
Hardy. But I will make it to a Hardy concert one of these days. If there's one thing I need to do before I die, it's see him play sold out in a
Hmm.
live venue.
He's one of the best out there. Hey, let's backtrack a little bit, talking to some music and break down some of these songs. 2018, I believe it was, "Mess with Me" comes out for you guys. It kind of gets things
Yeah.
rolling. Tell me about that one. Break down that song for me a little bit.
Mess with me? Well, that was about I was in junior high, I think,
Hmm.
when I released that song, maybe high school. And I was having a lot of difficulties with girls. And I was getting a hard time about being on the radio and, playing shows. And they're like, oh, you think you can be some sort of celebrity? I'm like, no, I just love what I'm doing.
Hmm.
And they're like, oh, they had a lot of really, really vicious things to say about it. And I'm a non-confrontational person. So I just go, okay, that's your opinion. And I'd walk
Hmm.
away. And then I went to my co-writer the one day, Olivia Wick, and I said, man, these girls, and if I could say anything, I'd say, don't you mess with me because I'm feisty. And so we started writing the song, and it was good because I got to write the song and I didn't actually have to, be any sort of confrontational. They got the hint when I released the song, and I said, yep, this is about the girls I go to high school with. you know. But yeah, I was having a hard time, and I needed to write about it.
And sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes that's the best
Yeah.
way the songs get invented is you're having a rough time. And like Drew
Yeah.
was talking about on the last show, is things come from out of nowhere. He was in a tattoo parlor, and they cussed a
Yep.
little bit. And he says he was getting a tattoo, and somebody said something out loud. He went and grabbed his phone, walked in the other room, and in 10 minutes he had a
Yeah.
song. Sometimes the best
Yeah.
ones come out of nowhere. What's what I love about this one is you segued into another one of my favorites, "Better Left Unsaid." Let's break that one down a little bit because I loved your album cover of what you did,
Oh,
right? You're
thank
holding a
you.
suitcase with that dress kind of flowing in the kind of the foreground, and the background you see those mountains, and you see pretty much all that kind of the trees area going down this road, and there's some things that you got to get off your chest in that one too.
Yeah, that one is it's a little heavy. I won't lie to you. It was my first serious relationship, and I felt like I really like this person, and this is going to work forever. Because that's how you feel, when you're 16 and you start dating a guy. And then I found myself the one day kind of sitting back looking at him thinking, this is not my forever person.
Mhm.
There was nothing wrong with him at the time. I just was like, this isn't my person anymore. And I don't feel the same as I once did. And that was a really complicated feeling for me
Mhm.
at 16. I really didn't understand that. I thought, oh, he's great. Like, why not? But it was a hard thing to come to terms with. And so I was talking with my writer, Elias Edlund,
Mhm.
and we got talking about it, and he said that's totally normal, that happens all the time. And I was like, oh, okay, because I feel like I'm the only one. He's like, no. And so we wrote the song, and I was still dating the guy for quite a long time, but I just didn't know how to feel about it. And the picture, actually, we took just 2 hours north of where I live. It's just in Jasper, Alberta.
That's and I'm glad you mentioned that too. These are perfect segues, man. You make a great just host of a podcast or just doing a podcast.
Thank
She
you.
gives me great segues because that hints the Jasper National Park, and that's where I got to
Yes.
visit up there when I was there for that 2 weeks. I think we spent 2 or 3 days out there, camped out overnight, and went in the next
Yeah.
morning. And God, what a beautiful piece of God's land that I saw. It
Yeah.
makes us kind of realize because my brother just got back from Alaska on this cruise, and he went out there to Glacier Bay National Park in Alaska, and he said, makes us realize how small we are compared to how big other objects in the world is and what God has done
Mhm.
for so many things. And I
Yeah.
looked at some of the pictures he sent me, and then I remembered some of the pictures in the scrapbook, and went back and looked at, and I was like, man, Jasper National Park, Athabasca Glacier, all the things up there that I got to
Oh,
visit.
yeah.
Small, I'm small in just a big old world. That's the way it makes you feel.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very humbling, and it's so beautiful, and just the feeling that you get when you're surrounded by all these mountains, and the glacier water that's just so crystal blue. It's beautiful. It's really just, there's no feeling like it in the entire world. And for a long time I couldn't wrap my brain around, oh, like, nobody else's home looks like this. Like, this is crazy. But no, I really feel so lucky to have spent the amount of time that I've spent, in the Rocky Mountains as I have, because it's a blessing. It really is.
Beautiful part of the world, no doubt. Of course, Yellowstone National Park, and just
Yeah.
I've traveled a lot, no doubt. Well, again, the single came out April the 8th. It's Far From Home across all the digital platforms. Let's play that on the show here.
Okay.
And get
Let's
that
do
thing
it.
out there to people that may not have heard that particular song. So make some new fans.
Let me tune this up real quick,
Go for it.
because I finished my gig and I shoved my guitar in the case,
Mhm.
and I guess I must have hit one of the tuning pegs. I do that sometimes. I set it down and then I'm like, whoa, something's wonky, and it's entirely my doings.
Well,
Nobody's fault but my
you
own.
caught me on a good day. Today's Thursday. It's almost Friday. We're getting into the weekend. And I'm going to make a huge announcement on this show that you're with me today. We're going to make a huge announcement here with you off the air with you today. So we got a very special guest coming up with us here in a few weeks that I just found out about today. So we're going to make the announcement here on the show with Krissy Feniak. There you go. So
I'm so excited. There, that's a lot better.
And after commercial break, and after you play your song, commercial break, and then we'll have the announcement coming back from the break there.
Awesome.
I'll give people a tease. It's an 80s big-time pop artist. We'll leave it at that.
I'm not going to be thinking about the song at all while I'm singing it. I'm going to be like,
Who could that be?
Who could that be?
When I say the name, you will definitely know it, no doubt. Here it is, Krissy Feniak and Far From Home on the Backstage Pass. Take it away.
I'll miss the drop-in visits, sitting there in Grandma's kitchen. I say I won't miss the weather, but there's nothing like a white Christmas. I'll miss the trips to the river, family breakfast together. It's only a matter of time before we start to bicker. Memories flood my mind every time I think about Grandma getting older. Feels like I'm running away, but I would never be truly happy if I stayed. And I'm ready to hit the road, even though I'll be so far from home. I'll be so far from home. My little sister asked me the other day if I'll make it home for her birthday. It broke my heart, but I smiled and said I'd try. Yeah, I promise you that I'll try. I'm not good at goodbyes. These memories flood my mind every time I think about my little sister growing up. Feels like I'm running away, but I'll never be truly happy if I stay. And I'm ready to hit the road, even though I'll be so far from home. I'll be so far from home. Ooh, I'll be thinking about back when. Ooh, when I'm sitting there unpacking. I'm not good at goodbyes. Memories flood my mind every time I think about the dinner tables I won't be at. I stay. And I'm ready to hit the road, even though I miss the people in my hometown saying, girl, you gotta go hit the road, even though you'll be so far from home. Yeah, I'll be so far from home.
Yeah, if I'd have been at that airport yesterday, it would have been a standing ovation. One of those sports kind of foam fingers that just said #1 right there for my new country song right there too.
Thank you.
Or like going to a Predators game, you're like, yeah, there's #1. Like I said, the foam finger out there too. Like, just #1 country music singer out there right now on the rise. Far From Home is out there across all the platforms. Make sure you guys check that out. And of course, we're going to break down a few more songs. Some of my favorites, of course, Wrong Side of Midnight, a song called Days, and a whole bunch of other cool stuff from Krissy Feniak here. It is CMA Fest week. We're going to take off tomorrow, so we'll have probably some stories to tell from somebody. And of course, be on the lookout on the Backstage Pass Facebook page. We'll be sharing some of those performances from some of our friends, our great publicists and managers. They're going to put video out there throughout the weekend. We can't be there, so definitely stay tuned to the Backstage Pass Facebook page. And, of course, a lot of pages out there. There'll be a lot of live recorded stuff that are streaming through the media stuff out there. We'll put as much as we can on the Backstage Pass. In fact, earlier today, I put some stuff from our good friends over at Brickshore Media on there, too, as well. I'm sure Aristo's doing a lot of things, all the different companies that we work with here on the show. A lot of things, so be on the lookout for that. All right, when we come back, it's a huge announcement here on the show. So it's a 80s pop artist is going to come on here on the Backstage Pass here in just a few weeks, probably sometime in July. When I say the name, you guys will know who it is, and it'll take you back a few ways. So be sure and spread the word. I'll announce her name. We come back. It's Krissy Feniak. It's Far From Home, which is available across all the platforms out there right now. Word from Bangtail Whiskey and our friends over at MitchMacs.com. For official Backstage Pass merchandise. Stay tuned. More to come with Krissy, including Rapid Fire and the big announcement. Coming back from the break, here we go.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And, of course, back here on the show, Krissy Feniak joining us here on the Backstage Pass. All right, time to make this announcement. I've been looking forward to this for a while once we got everything confirmed. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of do rapid fire, but I'm going to do reverse. I'm going to throw out some songs to Krissy, see if she cannot guess this amazing pop icon from the 80s. All right, Tell It to My Heart.
Tell It to My Heart.
See if she can name the artist.
I don't think I know.
Love Will Lead You Back.
Love Will Lead You Back. That sounds so familiar. I feel like I can hear the song so like in the background.
I'll give you a couple more. With Every Beat of My Heart.
With Every Beat of My Heart. I know that song. Ooh.
Give it away.
Did they tell you that I'm 20? I'm doing my best, but I do feel like I know these songs.
Well, I knew you were young, Tizzle, but I know growing up around just some great stars. The great Taylor Dane is coming here on the program. Taylor Dane,
Oh
80s
my
icon pop
gosh.
artist, coming up here in a few weeks in July. She's still doing tours and going strong, and so those are some of the most iconic pop songs. I kind of was right there in that Paula Abdul area too, right there too. So it just looking forward to talking to Taylor. It's going to be a lot of fun here on the program. So I tell people spread the word because we'll have some dates in July there too as well. But definitely just excited to have you back here on the show. I like to tease stuff every now and then. That's what makes broadcasting and shows so much fun. So it's cool to do that too. Again, Far From Home's the latest single out there. Be sure and check out Krissy across all socials, tour dates, things like that, websites, wherever you can find her, Instagram, things like that. I was going to ask you too, definitely looking forward to it. So many people, Nashville's gotten so amazingly, so much great talent up there right now. When I was up there for February for CRS, man, just meeting so many people, not just artists, but songwriters, managers, publicists. It's crazy in this town. Like you said, it's going to be swamped this weekend for so much. Man, it's like if you're living the dream, that's the town to go to for, they call it a 10-year town. I'm beginning to see why, but it's amazing how much talent is rich in that city for Music City, right?
Yeah. There's so many amazing, amazing artists here. And I've heard this so many times before, and I'm sure you have too. They say Nashville has to break you before you can make it. And, you got to work as hard as you can and, harder than everybody else. And, you just got to wait for your chance. Yeah, but it's great. I mean, it's so fun. The process of, putting in your 10 years, it's so fun. So it's worth it.
Well, I get that too. At the same time, I get that feeling and that power when I was there, man. It was fun to be at the Omni and just enjoy things. Hey, let's break down some more songs here because I'd love to see you at a show when I get up there one day because I was all across Broadway at Old Red between all these different places.
Yeah.
Some of the best barbecue I ate at was Martin's, which actually put some of the Texas barbecue to shame, which is no, I'm not going after anybody out there in Texas. I'm just saying you got to try Martin's before you go anywhere else. Which is good up there. Let's break down Days, first of all. You guys put that out 2019. And then y'all segued into one called Wrong Side of Midnight. Let's break down both those tunes.
Those songs are very different from each other. Days came to me. I was watching this movie, and I think it was a Morgan Freeman movie. And the way that he talks just inspired me. The way that he talks about things, I'm very big on if someone says something a certain way or if they say something cool, I'm like, I need to write about it and I need to write it down. And so I got that song idea from him, and I took it to my co-writer and I'm like, man, I was watching this movie and he said it this way, and it just kind of, the song fell together really fast. And I really, really, really love the direction that my producer took it with, the strings and the organ and the stops. And it's a very dramatic song production wise. And it was just so fun in the studio. So much fun to record.
It's a damn good song. And then I know you're talking about everybody just kind of like night and day, things being different. Wrong Side of Midnight. Let's touch base on that one a little bit.
Wrong Side of Midnight. Well, I mean, it was about a boy that was trying to slide into my DMs at 1 a.m. and he's like, oh, what are you wearing? And I'm like, I'm wearing sweatpants and a hoodie that's 8 sizes too large for me. My hair's sideways atop of my head. I've got a green face mask on. I don't think you want any part and what's going on at Krissy's house. And I just was like, this time is for me. I work during the day and the time at night is for me. It's for my one-on-one time. And I was talking to my co-writer about it. And I'm like, Wrong Side of Midnight to be calling me on. And we were writing this one wrote fast too, because we were just laughing the entire time talking about, situations where guys have done this. And yeah, so that one is completely different from Days. Days is a little more, timeless and, making you think about yourself. And then Wrong Side of Midnight. Well, I guess Wrong Side of Midnight could make you think about yourself if you're that type of guy.
You could, and it could. And I love one of your quotes on I think it was on your Facebook page. You do write songs about boys. So I do want to make that clear about you. Those come out, including one that I'm going to go to next, Bad Day. 2021, and then of course Break Up, Break Down. So let's touch base on these two. Let's start with Bad Day first of all.
Bad Day, it was about a guy. At the time, he hadn't done anything that crushed my soul or my world. And like, I didn't need to be Carrie Underwood and like, wreck his car. I just wanted him to have a bad day. Like I wanted him to spill some spaghetti sauce on a white t-shirt. And, I just wanted his life to be inconvenienced just a little bit, the way that he's inconvenienced me. So when I took this idea to the writers that I wrote with, it was with a band called Prairie States out of Alberta. We laughed the entire time because we were going with these ideas that were like so bizarre and so crazy. And we didn't even use like 90% of them, but we just had fun coming up with little inconvenience things that, could happen to a person that would annoy you.
What about Breakup Breakdown?
Breakup Breakdown. That song's fun. That song just hit 500,000 streams on Spotify.
Congratulations.
So thank you so much. My heart is just like glowing. That song, my writer TJ Simpson brought in the room that day, and he said, it's funny because it seems like girls and boys, seem to go through a reverse breakup emotions. The girl gets dumped and she's sad, and then she's okay, and then she's out with her friends. And it seems like guys are like, they're out with their friends, and then they're like, oh, I'm kind of lonely. And then they're like, oh, I really miss her. And, they break up backwards. So he said, I think it'd be fun. And I said, I have absolutely had this happen where, a guy comes up to me at the bar that I used to, see, and I'm just like, I'm over it, and they're not. And, it's definitely nice to have your moment where it's like, you broke up with me and you don't get to go back on that. But yeah, so that's another fun one also about a boy.
I like to break them down. We did that in chronological order. I love doing that. See how organized we here on the show. We have to do things in chronological order from the first release to the current release, which is Far From Home out there across all the platforms. Make sure you guys check that out. I'm sure there's more in the can, more songs we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. And now you wanted to play a new single for us, or what will be the next single? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's do that. Well, let's turn it over to you once again.
Okay. So this song, I gotta preface this. This song, it was just a song that I played out at rounds, like just singer-songwriter rounds, because it's a fun song. And I never thought that I'd record it because I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what people would think, but people loved it. Every round that I played it, people were laughing and they loved it. And I worked with a new producer on this one, Brian Howes and Grady Saxman. And Brian's like, we got to do this song. It'd be so great for TikTok. So you have to let me know what you think. And if you like it, I'll find a way to get you the master so you can listen to it all sparkly and pretty. But anyways, this song is called, This Is Where the Karens Live.
Okay.
We're not friends with the lady across the street. She's always angry about something in her 2-cent tweets. Next to her, perfect family of 6. Greenest lawn and bar brawling kids. Living in the suburbs, home of the Facebook community page. Everyone in the comments section letting out their rage. Day drinking soccer mom, talk to the manager, her order's wrong. Head of the PTA, and you know she's in charge of prom. Bible verse tattooed on her wrist, judging how you raise your kids. Different house, but same old hypocrite. Man, I swear, this is where the Karens live. Preacher man here on Wisteria Lane, hooking up with a woman from the building campaign. Politics for the wife next door. She'll put a sign on her front lawn, then one on yours. Living in the suburbs, home of the Facebook community page. Everyone in the comments section letting out their rage. Day drinking soccer mom, talk to the manager, orders wrong. Head of the PTA, and you know she's in charge of prom. Bible verse tattooed on her wrist, judging how you raise your kids. Different house with the same old hypocrite. Man, I swear, this is where the Karens live. Sometimes I catch myself yelling at a kid in Target, and I wonder, am I gonna be day drinking soccer mom? Talk to the manager, my order's wrong. Head of the PTA, and you know I'm running prompt. Bible verse tattooed on my wrist, judging how you raise your kids. Different house but the same old hypocrite. Man, I swear, this is where the Karens live. Man, I swear, this is where the Karens live.
You're just so naturally gifted and talented. That's why you just come up with some songs that, yes, if that is the next single that is catchy, I'm putting that on my playlist. My
Oh, thank you so much.
My daughter's already getting into music, and she's just, 2 years old? She's just a little over 2. So she's loving all types of just different country and different everything. And yeah, that would be one of the ones that she would just say, Daddy, play it again. Daddy, play it again.
Oh, thank you so much.
That. And that concept is so great. You said where that came from too, just out and about, and songs sometimes just being born from nothing and coming to life. It's you can see why you guys, it's fun to release something like that, right? As the next single.
It's so fun and people love it. People laugh. And whenever I play this, people come up. I had this one guy come up to me after a show and say, my neighbor is a nudist and he mows his lawn completely naked. He's 86 years old and he mows his lawn completely naked. And I'm like, okay, you take the cake of like having the worst neighbor. Like, I'm sorry for what you have to see a couple times a week.
I just love it. It's now swimming in my head, and it'll be that way for the rest of the day. So title, that's amazing. I love it. One final timeout. We'll get a word in from MitchMacs and Bangtail Whiskey. We'll come back rapid fire with Krissy here on the show. Check her out across the socials, and Far From Home is the current single out there. Don't forget 80s pop star Taylor Dane's going to come by here in the next 4 weeks or so here sometime in July. Looking forward to talking with her and reliving some of those songs that made it iconic back in the 80s with her and Paula Abdul, what it was like growing up and traveling and becoming that big pop star. So looking forward to Taylor Dane joining us here. A full slate of shows coming up next week. You just have to be on the lookout on the Backstage Pass YouTube channel and at the sportsguyspodcast.com. I'm going to actually ask Krissy a sports question coming back too. So more to come here on the show.
Question. Wish me luck. Go sports.
Well, it'll be an easy question too, no doubt. We'll come back, final timeout, pay some bills here on the broadcast. Hang tight. More to come. Krissy Feniak, it is the Backstage Pass. Hang tight.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here on the show again, a few more minutes with Krissy Feniak. It is CMA Fest weekend on June 9th through June the 12th. So if you guys are out there having a lot of fun too, we'll be actually streaming some shows and some performances through our Facebook page. So be on the lookout for that. And of course, CRS 2023, the countdown is on March 13th to 15th of next year. We'll be there for those 3 days doing some media coverage up there with some of the best and brightest artists in Nashville, Tennessee here on the Backstage Pass. Again, thanks to Bangtail Whiskey, Hank Jr. Productions, and our friends over at MitchMacs. All right, I promised this wouldn't be hard, the sports question. So the first one's going to be your favorite team to root for. Is it in Nashville? Would it be somewhere else? Could be college, could be professional. Is there a team that you kind of just follow as a general fan, generic fan?
Yes, I would say the Preds.
Okay.
The Nashville Predators, the hockey team. I felt like I had to choose a hockey team here because, I moved here. I got all the merch. I wear the jacket, the Preds jacket. I got a hoodie. I got a hat. And every time there's a Preds game, I'm wearing one of the things. Even though I don't know what's going on, I'm like, go team. Yeah.
All you care about is the final score, just like most fans. Hey, all good. They win or lose. The wins you celebrate, the losses you're like, you know what? You take the ice in another 2 or 3 days. So it shouldn't be. It's a long season of 82 games, 41 home and 41 away. I'm not the biggest hockey fan, but I will say it's pretty cool to watch it now, as far as watching the teams in the getting ready to be the Stanley Cup Finals. But it's always fun. Hey, congratulations to Colorado. So we're talking hockey. Colorado gets to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time since 2001. So Colorado Avalanche will play the. It looks like it's going to be Tampa Bay Lightning. I guess it could be the Lightning, or who's left in there? Oh, the New York Rangers. Now that would be historic to see the New York Rangers get there for the first time since '94. So I had to think about that for a second. I was like, man, I'm old now, Krissy. I'm old. It's this young generation now. So the Preds have all these young players, and I'm like, man, New York Rangers, the last time we talked about them was the 90s? Wow, it's amazing. But, yeah, I'd love to see New York play in the Stanley Cup Finals against Colorado, although Tampa Bay's been tough the last few years. So, yeah, I could go on and on with sports here, but we won't do that, though. Let me go here to favorite food to eat out, the Krissy Feniak flavor. What is it to cook, or what's going on with that?
Food. Ooh, that's a great question. Recently, my meal of choice has been nachos with pineapple salsa. I was skeptical, but it's so good. And if I'm going out, Del Frisco's, their steak with the blue cheese butter. It's the way to my heart.
You just said right there, blue cheese butter, and you lost me at that. It's like, what does that go on, steak? Or yeah. You lost me at blue cheese butter, no doubt. All right, favorite hobby to do outside of music? What do you enjoy?
I don't do a lot outside music. So I would say going to watch music. I love, supporting other people, my friends. And of course, it's always nice to see, the massive artists. And, I would say more music.
Looks, outside of music is music and more music. It's just good. So I like that.
Exactly.
Never had anybody. They're like, well, we like to sew or cook or play some grow gardens or something. Music outside of music.
That's all I know.
That's good. I like that. All right, if Krissy won the lottery tomorrow, what's the first thing she would do with that big Powerball or Mega Millions? What the money?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I'd buy maybe buy a car.
Okay. All right. Everybody can.
I don't know.
It's all good answers.
Yeah, I never thought about it. I guess the exciting answer would be like, oh, I'd go on a trip to Vegas or something. Yeah. So maybe I'd do something that's a little more exciting. So when I tell people, they're like, oh, that's cool. Or like, oh, I bought a tiger, something cooler than a car.
And then all the responsibilities that come with a tiger, getting a cage, getting some food, legally, can it be owned? Your license, I'm sure at some point, but where do you house it? Yeah. That's a cool thing, a walk on the wild side, no doubt. I love doing this from time to time here on the show. Favorite flavor of ice cream? What do you enjoy?
Favorite flavor of ice cream? Brownie cookie dough.
That's a good choice right now. Actually, it's been hot outside, triple digits down here in Texas. So, yeah, and I'm sure up in Nashville it's a little warm. So I could use some of that right now. It'd be nice.
Yeah, it's 82 here.
80. About 15 to 16 degrees on you down here in Texas. 96 where I'm at right now. So it's it probably feels like I'm down here in Texas. So people thought I was up there during the rainy time when I was up there in February, and now it's hot as you know what outside when it comes to outside. I love that. All right, let's do this one. Movies growing up as an adult, what were you was it comedy? Was it sci-fi? Was it horror? What were your favorite movies growing up?
A little bit of everything. I was always too scared to get into horror movies, but I was all about, Star Wars and Secondhand Lions and just across the board, everything. My family, we loved watching movies. So any of the classics, we'd sit down and watch.
That's what I'm into now is that the wife's doing the Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney Plus, which is coming out really good. And of course, any of those last three Star Wars movies I liked. Some people didn't, but I thought it was some cool stuff. Good stuff. And of course, you go back, and my favorite one has to be probably Empire Strikes Back for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think probably mine too.
That's a great one too. All right, we'll finish with this one. Let's do this. Toppings on pizza. If it's just for you and you're having a night in, what toppings go on the Krissy Feniak pizza?
Ham and pineapple, Hawaiian pizza all the way.
I'm sure she'd probably say, you know what, and get my favorite beverage, and I'm going to have a girls' night or just enjoy myself, have a night for myself and enjoy it. I tell you what I do enjoy is the music. Far From Home is across all the digital platforms. Make sure you guys go check that out and check her out across all the socials. Hey, have fun this week. Enjoy it. I can't be there. Have fun for me. Drink, just whatever for me. Have a good time. If it's a girls' night, enjoy it. CMA Fest is going to be so much fun. I know this year, bigger and better than ever. So glad to meet you, fellow Canadian and definitely great Nashville recording artist. Thanks so much for being with us, Krissy, and looking forward to doing this again somewhere down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. The only one and only Krissy Feniak here on the show. No shows tomorrow. Back next week. Full slate of shows, and then here in a few weeks, Taylor Dane. Drop by the Backstage Pass. We get a chance to interview the icon, and I can say that too, from the pop world of the 80s.
Yeah.
Looking forward to talking about those songs and then some. We'll see you guys next week on the show. Thanks to all the sponsors. And of course, if you missed anything, the YouTube channel, or I'm sure Krissy is able to share this out later on. If you missed, want to watch the replay, feel free to do it. And of course, at the sportsguyspodcast.com, the NBA Finals, Boston, of course, won last night. So it's 2-1 Boston now there too as well. So definitely game 4 coming up on Friday. In Boston, so playing Golden State and a whole bunch of other sports stuff. We always do takes on the Facebook pages out there too at the same time. We'll see you guys next week. Look out for the comments and some of the CMA Fest videos streaming through our pages. This week, always fun to check out new artists and learn about new music, such as the artist and greatest Krissy Feniak. We'll see you guys next Monday on the show. Until then, have a great night and a great weekend. We'll see you soon.